Alright, so today I'm going to be replacing this cable here. This is the ignition and the power tilt. Looks like this on the other end. So there's two sides on one end and one side on the other. The reason I'm replacing it is because this didn't have any sort of protective, like a wire loom or anything on it. So it corroded after chafing, and I realized it when I pulled the floor to have some welds done. So I'm going to show you how to get this off and replace that cable and connect it over here to this side. And so in my case, I have to run the wire up through that hole, and then on the other side over here, it just barely fits through there. I'll actually show you here. Alright, so this is the spot that was corroded after rubbing through here. So, alright, well, let's get to it. Alright, so you're going to want to remove these two right here with a 10mm. Make sure you put these somewhere safe. So next, we're going to need to come in here and picture where it's going to go. So just set this out of the way if you have one of these that's not hooked up. And it's pretty much right on top the whole way around. Let me double check the other side here. Yeah, so it's right on top all the way around here, except for here. It just goes right in between those, and then right here. Alright, so after you've determined how much in length you need, just go ahead and kind of set this over there. Set the old one to the side here, and just go ahead and pop this one right back in beside where the old one was. It's kind of a tight fit, so you're gonna have to push pretty good. And after that, just gonna feed this, put this back together around after you get your wires all nice. Alright, so this part here, it's like just a little fancy zip tie basically. You just push this in here and wiggle it over. Pull it, sorry. Just twist it, pull this down, make sure that's out of your way. Go ahead and pull this gently out of your way so that it doesn't get buried down there. And then after you've got a hold of that, you basically want to very carefully, because this is tight, it's very tight, very carefully pull them apart. Sorry, I know you probably couldn't see that, but I had to really get in there. So set the old one to the side, just bring the new one in. There's going to be a little tab on the top here. You just line that up. Oops. And after you line it up, make sure it's lined up, because you don't want to really put a lot of pressure on it unless you're sure. Alright. Just make sure you remember to put your locking collar on here. You don't want this thing wiggling out. Alright, so after you've got this thing locked back on there, you're pretty much just going to shove it back in there, zip tie it back together, and move on. Alright, so I've got the back already emptied out here. I went ahead and took the batteries out, took all the wiring out. It's basically just laying out here. I'm gonna go ahead and feed this through. This is the new cable for the ignition and stuff coming off the motor up through that hole, and then I gotta get it out on this side right there. I'm sorry for the lighting, I know this isn't ideal, but I'll try to make it work. And then I'm gonna run it along here inside of something like this. The previous one was not in that, and that's why it chafed down here and it needs replaced. So then I'm going to run it inside of that over to there, up to the console. Alright, so this will be the trickiest part of the whole deal. I am going to tie these onto a rod, a stiff little piece of almost like bamboo. You could use whatever. I actually have a specific tool for this, and I'm going to use that or some bamboo depending on if the little stick will hold this, and just shove it through and then fetch it on the other side.